having a nice... What day is today? Monday?
Oh, is it Monday? I was gonna jump in and say Tuesday.
Oh.
It's nice to know that I'm not the only person that has trouble keeping track of those things.
Well, yeah, I guess you work from home like me. You do lose track, don't you?
Oh, yeah. It can get really, really bad with me. Because I don't even have to keep any sort of like human being hours if I don't feel like it. That means, if I am up for 30 hours, that's fine. And if I'm up for, 15 hours and then I take a nap, and then I'm up for 3 hours and I take a nap, I don't even know how to keep track of like what day it is or whether or not I should be tired. It's taken some getting used to.
Yeah, that's how they say. That's how I read something about Hugh Hefner. That's how he used to work. He used to work for like 40 hours at a time, and he would just crash. And then work for 40 hours and crash.
Yeah, that's almost like the opposite of the Edison, where Edison was on that bizarre sleep schedule where you'd be up for 2 hours and you take a 15-minute nap and 2 hours and a 15-minute nap. He would do that again, and that's all he would do for his whole years at a time. And apparently it works great once you manage to put the 2 months in.
It doesn't sound very healthy or circadian.
It's absolutely not circadian. What's weird is they've actually done studies. If they remove people from external stimulus like a job or the sun or whatever, they find out that people tend to gravitate to about a 25-hour day. So we are awake and then we go to sleep in about a 25-hour pattern, which is exactly what I've tended to fall into, because it doesn't matter if it's light outside or dark outside or who's working or whatever. And so that means I stay up an hour later every day. And so half the month I'm a night person, half the month I'm a day person. I tell you, it makes scheduling something like this a nightmare if I have to do it 3 weeks ahead of time.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, oh boy, 3 weeks at 45 minutes a day. At 2 o'clock, I'm probably going to be asleep in the afternoon. It's insane.
It's like every day you spring forward.
A little bit. So I naturally kind of roll over once a month. I'm going to experiment with a few buttons here. What's this?
Yeah, play around. We're not live yet.
Okay.
We're just goofing around before the show. We're still waiting for our broadcast partner.
Yeah. The other nice, here's what I'm using mine for right now.
Monitor stand.
A sacrilege.
That's funny.
2 of them make for really, it's the perfect ergonomic height for a computer monitor. Watch me make everyone seasick now by trying to reorient this cam.
Cool. All right. Well, you look good. You sound good. Everything looks good from your end. Hey, Dave, where are we with Tony? Why hasn't he joined us yet?
I'm guessing the other show's still going on.
You have him in the chat window?
No, I sent him a chat invite, and I told him I sent him a chat invite. I just sent him an email that the Hangout's open, so.
Okay. Well, we'll get him in soon then.
I've never done this before. Let me know what this sounds like to you. I see I have a chat option over here. How much noise does this make?
No, it's fine. It's not. It's sort of a pleasant background, cheery typing.
That's nice to think.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds just like some stock audio file you might buy.
Well, it's probably a very familiar sound to anyone who grew up in the 80s. It's
the IBM?
I'm an addict for this old Model M IBM keyboard. It's actually made out of iron. I'm not kidding. It's like,
oh yeah,
they weigh about 10 pounds, and they made a billion of them back in the 80s, and a lot of people still use them because they still work. It's got really great reactive feedback for your fingers. You push a key and you feel it.
Is that the kind that pops when it comes back up? Yeah, I know that one.
It's the
I know that
clicky
one very well.
keyboard. I'm useless without one.
Is that what you type on too, for your books and everything?
Everything. I actually have a stockpile of them that I hoard. So if one breaks, I have a backup.
Speaking of the 80s, you know what book I'm almost finished with now is Ready Player One.
Oh, how you liking it?
Good. I had so many people recommend it that I finally broke down to get it, and man, it's really. And this guy lives in Austin. He's like my neighbor. I didn't know it.
Really?
And he has a DeLorean.
He does. He is a dyed-in-the-wool geek. That's what he bought with his book advance money, was that DeLorean.
Wonderful. What an incredibly impractical but awesome thing to get with your book advance.
He actually got the little flux capacitor installed in the
right.
back seat too. I'm not even kidding.
That's cool. All right, Dave, any word from Tony?
Nope.
He's holding us up. I'm checking.
So,
the show's still on right now.
I am bad with names, and so I'm going to take a wild stab and try to remember. It wasn't Teresa, was it?
No, it's Tammy.
I got it. The first letter is really good for me.
Close.
What do you do at Google?
I'm a programmer. I used to work on Picasa Web, the photos website, and then I went to Google Plus Photos, and now I'm finally on ads.
So what sort of programming do you do specifically?
Well, right now I'm working with Java, but I've worked with everything because I've been a programmer for over 20 years now.
Oh, see, of all the things that I've fallen hopelessly behind the curve on, I really miss being able to program. I used to. I wrote, I mean, I'm useless now, but I used to be able to do Pascal. I wrote stuff in BASIC and a little bit of COBOL, and
the fundamentals are still there, although everything's in object-oriented programming now, and none of those languages really are object-oriented. That's where I started out too, Pascal and BASIC.
Yeah. I really. There are some times when I'm like, God, I really would like to model this or solve this kind of bizarre equation, or I want to figure out a statistic thing. And I used to be able to bang together a quick program in BASIC that would generate random numbers and run through a million iterations and give me a probability distribution. Mm-hmm. And now I can't. I'm just useless. You
could probably do something like that in JavaScript even and run in a web page, given the speed of browsers now.
Exactly. I probably could, but I miss being able to just sit down and actually bang out a rough program.
A for loop still looks the same.
Really?
It doesn't change any of that.
I used to be a programmer. That's what my major was, computer science. But then, after I got out and got in the real world, I sat down with real programmers. And I realized that these guys were born to program. And I was not born to program. I didn't know what I was born to do, but it wasn't that, because these guys, they were just awesome. I thought, oh, this isn't for me.
I think you kind of found a calling, Trey.
Well,
very well received.
Yeah, but actually, I think a lot of people get into something and they might really love it, and they don't really know if they're born for it or not, and they just kind of get stuck in this cycle, and they might be competent at it, but it's not really their raison d'etre. There's some other calling that they haven't recognized yet.
Yeah, programming's my calling. I found it when I was 8 and never stopped.
Wow. Yeah, I remember, and I'm trying to think. This was back in the days where they kind of yanked you out, and they bussed me to a different school so that I could learn how to do some of this computer programming on the old Apples. And so I hit my peak with BASIC, because at one point I knew 3 different dialects of BASIC. There's the dialect for the Apple, where the semicolon means a different thing.
Yeah.
And then there was the dialect for the IBM stuff, where if you use a semicolon or a comma the wrong way, you're going to screw everything up. Man, yeah, I kind of miss that. You know, I miss being able to just futter around with that, and it would take me so long to get up to speed with a new programming language.
Did you ever use a Timex Sinclair 99 or a C64 or a Trash 80? What did you get started on?
A Sperry.
Sperry?
You probably never would have heard of it. I think it was definitely an IBM compatible something. That's what I played the first Infocom games on.
Oh, yeah.
And the original one, it didn't even have a hard drive. It had two floppies. This one for the program disk and this one for the storage disk.
Right.
And yeah, and I tried to write a interactive text game on that.
Yeah.
And I wrote like 80 pages of code for it. Actually wrote all the room descriptions.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah.
Just like 20 print. And then, and then the quotes in there to do one line.
Right.
Oh, and editing, that was awful, because if you change something up here, I didn't know how to do like a big swath of text. I had to do it line by line.
Did you have any kind of like natural language programming? So like if they typed in "go north," you knew to print this, or if they typed in "open chest"?
I knew, like I could make it do numbers, and so I had an idea of like how I could make the person move from room to room. I had an idea of like how I could simulate fighting, because that's just numbers again, but effectively parsing the text. I knew I had no idea how to do that, so I was going to get all the rest of it done, and then see if I could figure that out. And of course, that was just a total black box to me. I had no idea, and so after diddling with it for months and months and months, I moved on to some other project.
Yeah, I had that black box was always confusing because you never really knew how it worked. I felt so stupid. I did the same thing. I didn't do an adventure game like you, but what I did is I wanted to have like the ultimate music database, where what I did is I went to like Hastings Music in the mall, and I would go through all of the old records, the old style records and the liners and everything, and then I made sure I had all of them, like Journey and everybody, and then I would go home and I would say like, if user types in Journey, reply yes. So you went in there and you're supposed to try to stump it with a band that you never heard of. It would just go through like 10,000 lines of code, and it would just say yes or no. The lamest program ever. It was so sad.
You wrote a precursor to Grace Note.
Yeah.
CDDB.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing.
I did something similar. I tried to put all of the D&D monsters in a database.
Uh-huh.
And so I created the big database layout, like hit dice and location and treasure type. So you would be able to, like, theoretically search on any of those fields. So if you wanted something with 3 or more hit dice, you could search that field in that way. I can't even remember what the database was called. It was something like, it was Lotus database. It's ancient. The company probably doesn't even exist anymore.
Lotus 123 maybe.
It might have been.
That was a spreadsheet, yeah.
And so I entered them all in by hand, and there were, because I didn't know what I was doing, there were literally like 1,000 search fields. And so like invisibility was its own field. You could toggle it on or off. And I must have put like 70 hours into typing all these monsters in. And then it froze up one day because whenever you wanted to make a change to the overall template, it had to go in and change every record that you'd entered. And so this is like way back in the day. Again, no hard drive. So it would read and write, read and write, read and write off these floppy disks for like literally an hour every time I changed the template. And one day it just went read, write, read, write, read. and then stopped, and I lost like all of the work.
No.
My monsters, no.
And of course, I didn't have any backups because
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm going to go ahead and post this publicly, if that's okay. I don't know when Tony will join, but we'll at least let people in the...
Their show ended, so you want me to start the timer?
No, don't start the timer yet. Let's at least wait for we'll wait for Tony to come in.
Okay. I emailed him the link to the Hangout too, hopefully.
Okay. The show will officially start here in a bit.
Now, out of curiosity, because like I literally bought a webcam today.
Oh.
Yeah, I lost my other one somehow. Should I have it up here on top? Should I put it down here at the bottom?
Up top is good.
On top is good. Otherwise, people would be looking up my nose, I assume.
No, I like the top down. It's kind of like you're a MySpace girl in the bathroom.
That's how I think of myself every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you ever need to figure out someone's name, you can hover over their face and it'll show you their name.
Oh, cool.
And if you click them, it'll lock onto them, and if you click them again, it'll lock back. It'll go back to automatic switching.
Oh, that's neat.
Now, Tammy, I have recruited Tammy to be in charge of watching the chat room and yanking any pertinent questions out of there, okay, Tammy?
Yep.
Yeah, you kind of...
Do you feel comfortable with this?
I didn't have time.
You didn't even know what my app was, though.
I hope you're comfortable with this job. I feel like we're about to take off on a plane. I'm asking you if you know how to use the emergency door.
You know what?
Yeah.
Already? I don't have a choice.
All right, so I shared this publicly.
Hey, Tony.
Hey, Tony.
Hi.
How are
Sorry
you?
we're running a little late.
It's all right. Don't worry about it.
I am too bright. Why am I
No
so
problem.
bright?
We've just been doing a little pregame
Right. There we go.
nerdy D&D talk here.
I'm jealous of your mic. Both of you.
So
I'm not overcompensating for anything with this.
I'm gonna cross this.
How are we looking, Tony? How much longer do you think?
Give me a couple minutes.
Okay, no problem. So let me know. Pat, what was your first Infocom game you played?
The first one was Zork 3,
Oh.
which really kind of screws with a guy. I was in the 6th grade, and so I jumped it. I knew nothing about the world. It was a very bizarre game from a lot of aspects. How about you?
My first one was, well, do you remember how they used to come in big boxes, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I picked it based on the box, and there was this one called Suspended.
Oh, that one was bizarre.
Big box with a clear front, and then inside was like this
What?
eerie white mask.
Cropped, not zoomed.
Oh,
And
you want to zoom in?
it came with a board, which was awesome, and then you had these 4 robots.
still
One could only see, one could hear, one could walk, and you had to move them around this abandoned space station to accomplish. It was so hard.
It was. That was. Honestly, that's one that I only heard about, and I tried to play it like maybe 8 years ago because I got like the full Infocom pack.
Uh-huh.
And it's almost like this postmodern thought experiment. That one was rough.
Yeah, I was so intimidated by that first game. I thought, man, everyone else is really smart and I'm really dumb, and this hasn't really ever changed the rest of my life.
You should have started off with something like Leather Goddesses of Phobos.
I don't think that was out yet.
I'm ready. If you're ready.
Trey, you want me to start the 5-minute counter?
Yeah, start the 5-minute countdown. That's good. I think, but I really hit my stride when Hitchhikers came out.
Oh, yeah. Should I post a link to this somewhere?
Sure, you can
What would a good link be?
reshare. If you reshare my thing I just posted, then that live stream player will appear in your stream, and everyone can press play and
Alrighty.
you.
The stream that I'm supposed to be monitoring is the Twit Live one, right?
Yes, watch the live Twit chat room, which
Stay quiet.
that's fine. We're 3 minutes from launch here. The chat room is impressed by the sound of your keyboard. I'm watching them.
You know, it's a manly sound. There's no denying that.
Yeah.
They really want to see the keyboard. That's what they're saying.
Yeah.
I worry if I pick up the webcam again, it'll take me forever to get it resituated.
I'll tell them it's an old IBM PC. Cool.
The alternative suggestion is to pick up the keyboard.
Oh, yeah, I suppose.
It might be too heavy.
It is a little heavy. Got so much crap here. Man,
Wouldn't want you to pull your back or something.
it's kind of grotty as well. There we go.
All right, look at that.
Yeah.
I thought it might have one of those phone cord bungee things coming off the end.
Yeah, with the
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
All right.
Old cord. You can see how
old
thick it
AT
is.
connector.
Yeah.
And
My mom used to have one of those that's 40 feet long, and she would walk all around the house and wrap it around everything.
and here, actually, it's iron. It's not aluminum or anything. This thing was made to withstand a Fallout-style apocalypse.
Cool. And it keeps any demons from stealing your keyboard.
Yeah, that is a plus.
Yeah.
Plus.
All right, Dave, everything looking good from your end?
Yeah, we got a minute 30.
Good. Tony, everything good from your end?
Yep, I'm already recording.
All right. You having a good day, by the way, Tony? Tony, meet Pat. Pat, meet Tony.
Hi. Nice to meet you. Regular day, regular Monday. So.
No. You always have such a pleasant disposition.
Oh, hey, Tony, for the end of the show, can you want to plug Catherine's, whatever she's got going on this week?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I guess I can bring it up behind me.
Yeah, she was supposed to tell me who her guest was.
Actually, she emailed Tony to tell us.
Ah, yeah, so I don't really know. So anyone watching now on Google+, YouTube or whatever, if you go to live.twit.tv, you can see this in a higher resolution, bigger screen, and you can watch and join in the chat. We're going to be watching the chat live too, and this is Tammy's job to be in charge of all chat activity, which she will pull it off with reckless aplomb.
20 seconds.
Okay. This is exciting. I have to get my little tweets ready here. All right. Thanks for not letting it run out this time, Dave, before telling me.
0.
Okay, welcome everybody. I am Trey. I am mega excited about today's show. This is like very personal thing to me, but I hope you get a lot out of it too. So I'm super thrilled. I guess I should have shaved or something. I'm looking a little bit Clooney today, but it's nothing next to the facial fanghorn forest upon the face of Patrick Rothfuss here. Hey, Pat.
Hey there.
How are you?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Good. So that was a horrible introduction. I need to give you a proper introduction. I don't need to use some weak beard segue to introduce you. Let me give you a proper one. So this is Patrick Rothfuss, and I know people that tune in all the time. They're like, it should be a photography show or whatever, but why is this guy on that uses his head to write words on a page? But people often ask me what inspires me, and I am generally inspired by things outside of photography, especially literature. And within that magisterium, one of my greatest influences over the past few years has been this man, Patrick Rothfuss. And it's like a great honor, and I'm humbled and a little bit nervous actually to have you here with me. So welcome.
You are terribly kind, and you give me way more credit than I deserve. I'm a little nervous too, if that makes you feel any better. This is literally I've done 2 of these like live video things ever, and on one